the burden of kingship in Shakespearean rule. A kingdom for a stage. Oh, for a muse of fire. A kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold the swelling scene. Shakespeare introduces kingship as the ultimate performance. The monarch is an actor on a national stage, his every move watched, his every word carrying the weight of the realm. His life is not his own. It is a role to be played for the benefit and judgment of his people. The mortal man, the immortal state. A king is both a fallible human, the body natural, and the divine embodiment of the kingdom, the body politic. To rule, he must suppress his personal desires and flaws. The wild Prince Hal must die so that the virtuous King Henry V can live. This transformation is the first essential burden, the sacrifice of the self to the state. Consideration, like an angel, came and whipped the offending Adam out of him, leaving his body as a paradise. The gates of mercy shall be all shut up. What is't to me when you yourselves are cause, if your pure maidens fall into the hand of hot and forcing violation? Take pity of your town and of your wiles, yet my soldiers are in my command. The king is not just a symbol, he is a commander. His duty to the realm forces him to wield violence as an instrument of statecraft. He must threaten the unthinkable, the slaughter of innocents, to preserve the lives of his own soldiers and achieve his kingdom's goals. This is the moral burden of the realm made manifest. What shall I say to thee, Lord Scroop? Thou that didst bear the key of all my counsels, that knewest the very bottom of my soul, may it be possible that foreign hire could out of thee extract one spark of evil that might annoy my finger? The crown isolates. A king can have counselors, but true friends are a liability. Henry's personal grief over Scroop's betrayal is profound, yet he must act not as a man, but as a king. He sentences his friend to death to protect his kingdom, demonstrating the chasm that power creates between the ruler and other men. The time is out of joint. The time is out of joint. O cursed spite, that ever I was born to set it right. Not all burdens are sought. For Prince Hamlet, the duty of kingship is thrust upon him not as a crown, but as a terrible command for revenge. He is tasked with purging the corruption in the state of Denmark, a kingly duty, but without the authority or the temperament for it. His is the burden of a rightful heir forced into the role of executioner. Upon the king, let us our lives, our souls, our debts, our careful wives, our children, and our sins lay on the king. We must bear all. O hard condition, twin-born with greatness! Here, Shakespeare gives the most profound articulation of the monarch's burden. The king is the vessel for his subjects' fears, sins, and fates. He enjoys general ceremony, but is denied the simple peace of a common man. He must watch while his subjects sleep, bearing the weight of their lives on his conscience. Oh, what a rogue and peasant slave am I! What would he do, had he the motive and the cue for passion that I have? He would drown the stage with tears. Yet I, a dull and muddy-mettled rascal, peak like John a Dreams, unpregnant of my cause, and can say nothing. While Henry bears the external weight of his men, Hamlet is crushed by the internal burden of his own mind. Tasked with the king's duty of revenge, his intellectual nature becomes a prison. He is paralyzed by thought, and this inaction torments his soul, making the burden of kingship a source of profound self-loathing. To be or not to be? Who would bear the whips and scorns of time? To grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country, from whose bourne no traveler returns, puzzles the will. The burden of existence, amplified by the specific duties of a prince, becomes so immense that suicide presents itself as a logical escape. It is only the fear of the unknown, the ultimate existential dread, that forces him to continue. For the burdened ruler, even death offers no certain peace. The sins of the father. Not today, O Lord, oh, not today. Think not upon the fault my father made in calm passing the crown. Revenge his foul and most unnatural murder. A king does not only inherit a crown, he inherits the moral debts of his predecessors. Henry V fears his father's usurpation will doom his cause at Agincourt. Hamlet is literally haunted by his father's ghost, his entire purpose now defined by an ancestral crime. The burden spans generations. The doors are broke. Rebellious subjects, enemies to peace. Your lives shall pay the forfeit of the peace. The rabble call him lord. They cry, choose we, Laertes shall be king. For all its ceremony and divine right, monarchical power is fragile. It rests on consent that can vanish in an instant. The ruler must constantly struggle against the forces of chaos-feuding families, rebellious mobs, ambitious challengers. The peace of the realm is a constant, exhausting battle. The rest is silence. Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him. Horatio, to what base uses we may return. He has my dying voice. The rest is silence. Ultimately, the burden of kingship ends in the grave. In the churchyard, Hamlet confronts the fact that the skull of a jester is no different from that of a king. His final act is not one of personal revenge, but a kingly one, to ensure a smooth succession by naming Fortinbras his heir, thereby healing the out-of-joint time at the cost of his own life. The king's peace, the king's sacrifice. When France is mine and I am yours, then yours is France and you are mine. For Henry, the resolution is political, not mortal. Having borne the burden of war, he now bears the burden of peacemaking. His marriage is not for love, but for the union of two realms. It is his final act as the body politic, sacrificing personal affection for the stability of his newly won empire. They lost France and made his England bleed. Henry VI, an infant bands crowned King of France and England, did this king succeed, whose state so many had the managing that they lost France and made his England bleed. The ultimate tragedy of the burden of kingship is that even the greatest sacrifices may be for naught. Henry V bears the immense weight of conquest and rule, only for his legacy to be squandered by his heir. The peace he fought for, the order he established, all of it is fragile and temporary. For Shakespeare's monarchs, the crown is not a prize, but a sentence. It is the weight of a nation's soul, the isolation of absolute responsibility, and the tragic knowledge that even a king is merely a player on a stage whose final curtain is always death.